What is up, y'all? So I'm reporting from the ice storm, the Fern winter storm. I'm in the southeast, and I was in, I guess, the path of the most intensity. Right now, the power's been out since early this morning, but I've been a real pioneer. This morning, I was able to make a coffee pour over, and I heated my water by putting my metal kettle over 4 burning candles in a roasting pan on a rack. And then I decided to move that rig into the oven and use like the adjustable height options with the sturdier, more fireproofness of the oven, and the help of the roasting pan to catch the wax. I regret not having thought of that sooner, because then I could have used the candle holders, and I think that would have intensified the focus of the heat and also spared the wax. So live and learn. But the perfect thing actually would be to just have some sternos and for a chafing dish, because those can get water boiling pretty fast, and you can just put the cap back on and they burn for hours and hours and hours. So having done this again, I would get a chafing dish set with the sterno burners. But I feel very prepared. I've got these cute lanterns. That's what the lighting setup is. I have my windows sort of insulated with blankets and pillows. I'm going to turn the camera so you can see my front door has a blanket on it to keep to keep the draft and to keep it warm, and that made a huge difference. So I don't know, it probably feels about 68 degrees in my house right now, so hoping I can keep it pretty warm. I have 3 candles burning right now, and I can definitely tell it's like a radiator. It kind of just gradually makes the room warmer. And then upstairs is just, it's about the same upstairs. But yeah, I just have towels under the door. I've got my cabinets open to keep everything thawed. But I'm just catching you guys up because I've been doing little weather reports. If you follow me on Instagram, you can catch more of my personal impromptu posts. But I'm Liz_Taylor_Magick there, same as the channel Magick. But I've been doing reels and stories just about my winter prep, basically video journaling for the storm, and keeping y'all up to date about how I'm faring and what I'm doing. And I think I'm kind of pretty resourceful and ingenuitive. So yeah, people have been telling me they've been having fun watching my offbeat hijinks. I actually was prepared, so much better than I thought, because being in production and into film production in the past, for years, I was doing grip and electric work and production assisting and doing things in production. And I have all of these coolers left over. So whenever I feel like I need to, I can throw all my food in the coolers, which are on the front porch, staying cold. And I even harvested some ice from outside into one of my smaller coolers, just to have ice to then fill the coolers once the food needs to be refrigerated better. So bologna is thawed. I've got beans and rice coming to room temp. I might try to heat those up with some candles. You'd be surprised at what low heat can do over a long period if you cover the vessel. So just some tips. Stay hardy. Do not give up. Okay, I love this. The first card out is fire. Passion. I was just getting settled in recently enough to get back into my Kabbalah classes. That's one of my favorite things that I do every week, is just get into a deep study class, a couple of evenings, get into the journaling. And this, over the snow days, I've been able to enjoy those classes. And one thing that I noticed last night, we were talking about the 10 Sefirot, which are the 10 dimensions of reality, and the 10 sort of aspects of God, the attributes of God, the Godhead. The first being the all-encompassing unification, the divine spark, the sort of the moment before the idea. Like when you get excited about something and you don't know quite what, there's energy, there's restlessness, there's something gathering, but you don't know what. And then Hakma, the second dimension, is about like being able to formulate the idea. Oh, okay, I have wisdom, I understand, I see the big picture, I have the idea now, it's formed in my mind. And it's sort of like this limitless potential because it hasn't come into being yet. And then you go to Binah. So that was the divine masculine, right? The supernal masculine is the wisdom, the idea. I've got the idea. Binah, the supernal feminine, is the third dimension, and it is the spark, the first spark of desire, of I want to receive, and I also want to be like the light and share. And so that is the first initial like fresh desire, and it has so much fertility in it and potential. But it's the first time where that idea has now been given restriction and boundary, as to say, okay, this is what the idea is, and now I'm going to just put it into action. And when we bring something into the physical, when we take it out of the limitless, it becomes obviously limited, right? It's gone from the infinite into the finite. So this fire reminds me of the initial passion to have a desire for something, to go after something, to create change, or to create growth or potential. But there is a light awakening in the individual and in the collective right now, and it's sparking so much passion, and it's leading, it's like something that's going down deep in, like we feel deep in our bones here. And it's like there's something like about that leg bone that it's going to be like a stand, right? Taking a stand, making a decisive action to go after the thing, to go after the desire, right? And you have that stability, you have the strength to stand and to walk in that direction and to take those steps. The snake here is like that transformation, the symbol of like the coiling up, is like the wisdom, the Mercury, communication. So there's something about new illumination, new fire, new passion, new ideas, and sharing those and those taking root. Well, did Neptune and Saturn just enter Aries, or Neptune just entered Aries? Something big happened like that, I think, today, that initiated something big in the like aspect of us feeling like we want to change, like this new self. It's like we're taking initiative, like there's something in us, like a fire gets lit. Okay. Ooh. A consciousness coming from love, of unity. When two or more are gathered in love and in the name of God and under the light and in unity, and they have a unified desire, that like almost nothing can stop them, especially if they join hands and they pray out loud, and particularly if they both pray out loud in agreement in the name of Jesus. That is a very powerful act. So thinking about like this new chapter, what we're going into, what we're all like facing so much uncertainty, it's like we need to bring a consciousness of love with us, because that is what it doesn't mean that it's not going to take us into moments where we have to take risks and do something that we don't know what the result is going to be. But it's like if we don't do it from a consciousness of love, and we aren't moving through life with that consciousness of love, then we're totally exposed. And we are going into uncertainty regardless, but without the protection of love and of the light over us. Right. And so the light has our ultimate security, and our souls are secure in the light. It's funny because when I saw this card, I thought that it was the card coming up, and I didn't see this card in the stack, and then I saw the card revealed itself and it is there. So this week, the Hunter card came up for me too in my own personal reading. I haven't even gotten into the reading yet, but whatever we want, we're going to have to go after it. We're going to have to make an effort. It is all too easy to be overwhelmed with everything that is on our plate and feel frozen and then disassociate and not do anything and just kind of leave it undone. And so we have to stay vigilant and focused and trained and disciplined with our attention and our hearts and our energy. Like over the past few days, I haven't really even had time to make a video. I've been all of my energy, all of my time. I didn't even have time to start the day with prayers or with a glass of water or with coffee. I got straight to it. I had to chop wood, carry water. Literally, I had to prepare for the potential for power to go out. You know, I had to prepare food. I had to gather firewood. Tomorrow, when the sleeting's over, I'm going to get the fire pit out probably and heat dinner up that way. But, I mean, yeah, I had to do all that. I had to cover the stuff. I had to go in and out a million times getting things and preparing. And I was, also trying to do, a house cleaning and all of that in the meantime. And it's like everything had to be put on hold. And this, even today, settling in with the power off, it's like a lot of the day has been spent, like trying to make the coffee and, kind of fumbling through, just trying to keep everything going and staying on top of everything that needs to be thought about and done, which I feel like I can settle into the evening. I'm going to have to tend to the flame for supper. If I can get the candles to work, I think I'm going to try to do the saint candles in the lower part of the oven on something flat, and then have the food heating above it on a rack above it. And I think that'll, over a course of an hour or so, I think that'll do, a pretty good job. So yeah, I mean, it's just, a constant effort. And so once we get our footing, we need to, get back into the routine. It's too easy for, over the past couple of days, I haven't really made videos. I've made videos of updating about what I've been doing, but I haven't been doing my content, and I haven't been posting to my other platforms yet consistently like I have been recently. And so, I just decided, let's start now. Let's start by making tonight's video. But everything that I've needed this week, for this week and next week, I've had to hunt my butt off for it. Now, to make up for all the cost of everything that I've spent, I'm going to have to hunt my butt off for those, for that cost. But you know what is interesting is that, shameless plug here, but it's literally shameless, the 2026 prediction series, I have been watching that myself, the yearly overview, and I hadn't watched January yet again, but I was listening to the winter reading. And there was already references to being having slow times where not a lot was going on. And I figured it would probably be snow days and things. And there was anticipation in the reading of having a lot of anxiety around resources and money, and to just know that everything was going to be fine, and to relax and to enjoy the moment. And my cards had even told me to embrace the hermit mode and the solitude, and everybody and their mother has wanted me to come hole up with them. And I'm I'm actually very prepared. The only thing that I have to worry about is getting cold inside. And I have layers. I've got more candles. I've got blankets. I'm not worried about it. It's just the woman of valor prayer that I pray every week for Shabbat from the Proverbs. She does not fear of snow for her household, for her whole household is clothed in scarlet wool. And I was thinking, I wish I had a red wool blanket. And by chance, I actually do have a red wool blanket that I bought this year from my favorite gift shop that was going out of business. It was one of those nice picnic blankets that you keep for all your life. That thing is warm as F. So everything that we need this week, everything that we need as a collective, think about everything that's going on here and around the world. I checked in with one of my friends overseas in Palestine, and they're freezing too. And they cannot get any reprieve. They're stuck in tents. And it's not that I've forgotten about them. I always think about them, and I think about them out there and doing even everything I can. I'm haunted by the fact that I'm not doing enough, But again, the 2026 prediction series is underneath. There's a link, and it's $12, but it really is like a resourceful tool to help prepare you for times like these, and also to give you the soul work that is also parallel to the things that are going on during this time. But I touched base with her, and I was like, hey, sorry about out of touch. It's just, everything's been insane. Like the whole month of January. I know I don't have room to talk, but it's just been one thing after another. And all of my attention and focus and resources have been kind of getting, geared into this. And it's so funny because I started collecting like this little, like a bunch of like little things here and there for an emergency the week before they even started talking about the weather. So I just was like, I want some basic things to have around, and I'm glad that I did, right? But if we want anything, we're going to have to really make an effort to make it happen. The struggles here at home, domestically, up north in the Great Lakes state. I'm trying to be careful about my keywords, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like God, like I've just been devastated, and every moment in between all the work that I've been doing around here to prepare for the storm, it's just like in between that, I've just been like sobbing and praying and just feeling everything, and feeling sorrow and rage and dread, honestly, because my dreams have been telling me this is coming my whole life. And in the dream, I'm always trying to get everybody to safety and warn everyone and tell everybody what to do. And it's like no one listens to me. And this is my life playing out in real time. And it's just so heavy. And yeah, and it's just like these are the times though where you have to flex those spiritual muscles to be able to not look away, to bear witness, to feel everything honestly, but also to be able to keep enduring and keep going and pause for moments of sacred awareness and presence. But then you can't like be, incapacitated for a whole day. We have to be very fast and very adaptable and very aware and present during these times. I mean, I couldn't have been lazy and avoidant about preparing for the storm. There was very limited time. And if you dragged your feet, there was nothing left at the store. And there was no survival stuff left for those smart little tricks and tips, because everyone's seen the viral videos and everybody's gone out to get those unexpected extra little things. So, this is just an example of, just the energy and the adaptability and the swiftness that things are happening now that we're in the age of Aquarius. And in that age of Aquarius, it's air, and it's very fast, and it's, quick moving, the everything, that communications, technological advances, like when you look at a nature documentary, like you really have to get out there and make it in this life if you're an animal, all right? There's always a threat, and there's always a task at hand. And human beings are in a moment of evolution where the pressure is on, and it's like it's going to make or break you if you do not rise to the occasion in whatever way. There's lots of ways that it's required of us. It doesn't mean that we all have to become CEOs and learn how to manipulate AI and all of that, but it just does mean that you are going to have to get resourceful, and you're going to have to be energetic, and you're going to have to be, on top of things. Like it's even just weather. We have extreme weather now. I mean, exploding trees were part of this. We're part of Fern. Warning, exploding trees. So it's just like everything's turned up to 11, and it's like a sci-fi movie. It's like a sci-fi action Sharknado. We are in Sharknado. We are there. Okay. This is the card that I had thought that the sun card was the fire card. But I see that they're totally connected, because we are collectively feeling the pain and the sorrows of violence and loss and injustice and cruelty and barbarism and devastation. There's so much human suffering in the world right now, in every corner, everywhere you look. And we have to, like, this lantern is no accidental metaphor. The creator's laughing right now, because it's like we are here to be that light in dark places right now. We have to hold the light and shine the light for others. And so, you know, whatever wisdom or know-how you have to offer to be of assistance and service and sharing to others right now, it's vital, more vital than ever. So yes, our pain, we're feeling this collectively. And two things can happen with pain. You can either feel it and purify yourself by processing and digesting it, or you can choose to stuff it down and not face it. And that's when it festers into infection, and then it's weaponized and it's used against you, and you turn sour. And that's where your villain origin story happens rather than your hero's origin story. And so we already see a group of people whose unconscious pain and, you know, gripe with the world or suffering of life has been manipulated and twisted and weaponized, and it's being used in grotesque ways. So if we don't want to become the thing that we see and we condemn and we judge, we've got to stop condemning, we've got to stop judging, and we've got to see that in a hair's, you know, we're a hair's breadth of becoming the very thing that we despise. So we have to feel our grief, and we have to do something positive with it. We have to do something healing. We have to do something reparative. We have to transform the darkness, and we have to let this pain go through us, but we have to ignite an even deeper passion for you're gonna shit, for unity, for union. When the Israelites, for instance, were in absolute unity after the parting of the seas, when they got to Mount Sinai, they rose up beyond the level of the natural realm and into the realm of miracles. And because of their unity, they had just gone through this miracle together. They witnessed a miracle. It was fresh, you know, and they were full of fire, and they were full of belief, and they were full of conviction, and they were full of love and unity and brotherhood and sisterhood for one another. And they were unstoppable. And it is said that in the commentary of the Torah, that the parting of the Red Sea was not necessarily that something that was divinely given down by God, but it was something that was actively drawn down by human faith and passion and determination and certainty. The Israelites walked into the water, and it was up above their nose before that the sea split. But it was in the action that they took. They were in solidarity. Moses knew some of the ways to use the names of God, but ultimately it was one of the times where it was the human vessel that drew down with such passion that it inspired the miracle. Another time was Hanukkah, and the seed level for Hanukkah, which was Adam in the Garden of Eden, fasting for 8 days to bring the light back. After the fall, it's like that was in the fall equinox, and by the solstice, like the light was like being swallowed up. So Adam thought that we were going to return to chaos and formlessness. And so he fasted and prayed for as long as it would take for the light to return. And over that period, it took 8 days for the light to begin to return. So that was the seed that was planted that would then play out as the miracle that happened in the event known as Hanukkah with the Battle of the Maccabees. the Maccabees winning against the Greeks. So the other event that, and the Maccabees won against the Greeks because they were so devoted to maintaining their faith, even though the Greeks had tried to like defile it and to kind of like saturate it with other things so that they couldn't like worship, and they defiled the oils in the temples and things. And so, but they were determined and they were unified. And even though like it felt like no one in the heat, like the Israelites observed Judaism anymore, it's like those people were still devoted and they still fought in unity, and they overcame adversity against all odds, against this huge army, these huge resources. Now, fast forward to Esther, like the Purim holiday is also an event that is described as completely joyous and sweet because it is the human willingness to share and a consciousness of love that saves the people. And it was a miracle brought down by the willingness and the affinity bearing vessel with the light of the Creator. So when we are in unity, so then when the Israelites got to Mount Sinai and they were still like, wow, we are loving each other, we're one unit, we're one whole, one person, we are in unity, we love each other, like kumbaya, brothers and sisters for always. Everything was beautiful and perfect, and they had like miracles happening all the time, and they would have like spontaneous healings, and no one was dying and no one was getting sick, and like people had like regrown limbs and like unbelievable miracles they were experiencing. But as soon as they became divided and started to gripe, it was like that's when the Spirit of God, the Shekinah, it's hard one to say, could not, there was bearing no affinity, right? No joy. And so when there was all sorrow and all division, the Spirit of God couldn't come close to the people anymore. And so then they befell on harder times, and they were like plagued with ailments and curses when they were divided, when they were bickering, when they were, being hard-headed or hard-hearted against one another. But when they were in unity, it's like they would unlock this flow of protection and abundance and sustenance and blessing. So right now, on an individual level and on a collective level, the thing that is going to bring us into a state of healing and a state of security and goodness and light over dark is going to be a seed level of consciousness, of love, a willingness to show up and bring your consciousness into the day and do things with kindness and with intention and with love and with caring and move through the world this way. We cannot deny our pain. We have to feel it, and we have to be honest about it and with it, but we have to process it in a healthy way so that it doesn't go septic, right? And cause more strife and more division. The answer is looking to the light being the light. The wound is where the light enters, right? And so part of getting closer to the Creator and learning how to trust the Creator is that even in the midst of this, we know that the light is with us. And that's what keeps us in unity. I know that we are going through terrible times on this planet, but it's because the infection is being purged. Right? It's being pushed to the surface so that it can be healed once and for all and not be dormant in the system, waiting to fester and go septic again and again and again. We're cleaning that up, right? And so what's required of us is a constant vigilance to maintain our consciousness, to put our effort into choosing our thoughts, choosing our perspective, choosing the way that we see things, choosing to look for the light in others, choosing to be soft in a world that is demanding hardness. It's the only hope we have. So, this week, I think that just keep reaching for the light. Keep connecting with the light of the Creator to help you feel carried through and sheltered through times that are uncomfortable and uncertain and difficult and distressful and terrifying and heartbreaking and physically uncomfortable and financially uncomfortable, environmentally uncomfortable. Everything is, under tense circumstances right now. So let that inspire us to make positive changes and to make wonderful things and to do wonderful things for people and for each other. Necessity is the mother of invention, and people are so creative and so brilliant if they can stay feeling hopeful and motivated and focused. And I just keep hearing like a lot of references keep coming to me, even in so I've got this book from the, it's from Thrift Books, but it was my favorite book to check out in the library when I was like 5th, 6th grade. It's called The Canada Geese Quilt. And it was just such a comforting book. And it was like kind of like winter, like cold, gray. And whenever I hear Canadian geese fly over, I'm like, oh, it makes me feel so nostalgic for this book. So I ordered this book off of Thrift Books, and lo and behold, it came from a library in a public school. And it was an actual library book with the spine tab and like the laminate. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how nostalgic. And it's so crazy because look at where the address is. But it's the state where everything's going on right now. And that's always what happens to me when I'm making the art for the readings, is that Spirit will have me feel inspired to go grab a book or something, or a particular album or a picture, and I'll look at something about it and I'm like, oh, there's synchronicities there always. But I forgot my point as I was reading this book. Oh, yes. Okay. So the little girl, she's an artist. She has like a sketchbook that she draws in, but it's like right after World War II ended in this book, late 40s. And so she has this little sketchbook, and she feels ashamed to show anybody her sketches because she feels like everything's been so serious, and she doesn't want to bother people who have like real problems about like, hey, look at my art. She just feels like, tone deaf, yeah, essentially, right? And that's where we're all at right now, because it feels so weird to, like want to do something whimsical or share something whimsical in times that are there's so many horrendous things going on. But at the same time, we need that to fill in, to help keep us buoyant too, because if none of that was there, what would we have to break the tension with? What would we'd forget about why we love life to begin with, right? The silly little whimsy, right? And so, but the girl, she was like, she felt guilty and she didn't want to show people her drawings or her artwork because she was like, oh, there's so many more important things going on right now. It's like she felt guilty for doing, for making art. And it's so funny because like last week I shared a post where somebody was quoting Claude Monet and how he felt guilty for painting water lilies during World War I. He was like, why am I spending time with these musings? It's like so frivolous during times like this when people are like suffering. I'm sitting here painting. And, water lilies has been, a symbol of peace, as far as like the art world, and it's one of the classic impressionist pieces, and one of the gems of that time. And then there was something else recently about like people feeling, guilty, and it's like for like making things or for doing things that are whimsical. And it's like we actually do need to do these things, because in Kabbalah we're taught that, like, the affinity, bearing affinity with the Shekhinah, with the light of the Spirit of God, there has to be some part of our spirit that is uplifted. Even if, like, we as spiritual people, we have to learn how to maintain a paradox at any given time, how to feel joy and sorrow, and be able to, walk with both, one in each hand. And I have lived a life where that has been required of me. And I feel like it's made me particularly, I think, weathered and conditioned for times like these, to where even I'm struggling with things as well emotionally, but I can find my buoyant spirit and my joy, and I think that that's keeping me afloat. It's keeping me motivated to make content and encouragement and nourishment, and to keep going, and honestly just to keep finding beauty in life, because there's so much ugliness right now that it's important that we keep holding up the beauty, and to keep making that, and to keep sharing that, and to keep sharing goodness. And that is all for tonight. I'm going to save my battery, but I hope that y'all are well wherever you are. I hope you're staying warm and fed, and hopefully I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Ciao.